Hey, how's it going, guys? Geta and Koko here from Cosmos Studios Maui. One of you guys asked me to talk about how I dial in the lows to sound really good, clean, and loud, to really thump, to really get that sound. Guys, I'm gonna. There's a lot of things involved, but I'm gonna make it very simple as possible for you. Okay. The most important thing is to trust your studio, which means how is my studio translating the sound? Is it accurate? Is it not accurate? This is extremely crucial, and there's a lot of variables involved to achieve studio accuracy. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most challenging things uh, that I have come across. I've had all the gear after I've already spent all the money buying all the crazy stuff, trying to think, oh, this board is going to make my bass sound good. Oh, that board is going to make my bass sound good. Oh, this plugin's going to work. Oh, that plugin's going to work. Where the whole time it was because my subwoofer wasn't big enough. 12-inch sub does not do the trick. If you really want to dial in those lows, you really gotta have that good subwoofer. But it's not just the subwoofer. It's your sound card, D to A to D conversion, extremely important. And of course, it's your studio monitors that come along with the subwoofer that work well together so that the crossover is designed to work together. What is a crossover? Crossover frequencies, right? Let's say this subwoofer is ending at 60 hertz, but these speakers are designed for the subwoofer, so the crossover picks it up exactly at that spot. So there's no phase issues, there's none of that nonsense, right? So it just picks it up and it gives you accurate translation of the sound. So what you want to start with is take a track that you know very well, a hip hop track, trance, whatever you do, whatever house music, whatever it is that you do, but a track that by an artist that you know very well. You've listened to it in almost every car stereo, every speaker. You just know it by heart, like it's registered in your brain. Use that as a reference because that is what's going to give you the sound you're looking for. And that track has to be somewhat of a sound that you're trying to achieve too. So, for example, if you want that crazy hip hop knockers, like in my opinion, Gucci Mane's tracks, like they slap, like they just like you get in the car, you put on some Gucci, man, watch out. So, like for me, I would use Gucci Mane's tracks as a reference to really achieve my dial in my sound. So you guys do the same. Just take a track that you know very well. Okay, bring it to your studio, play it through your studio, and ask yourself like, okay, how does this sound in my studio versus how I'm used to hearing it sound? Okay, um, then go from there. What is it? What is going on? What is my studio doing with this track, and why is it doing it? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about my personal experience and how I started and where I was at, so you guys can just reference off of that. I'm gonna go to the screen here, and I started with the Atom A7Xs. Atom A7Xs. These are two-way studio monitors, best for your buck, very accurate, good stuff. However, I was never able to dial in that bass. And of course, that's not a surprise anymore because there's no sub. This is just a two-way monitor. You got a tweeter and you got the mids, and that's it. And your subwoofer, there is no subwoofer. This is nothing. This is just like a little crumb of what you need, right? So I ended up selling these to one guy who's now one of my clients, and he's extremely happy with them, and so was I. And they're really good speakers, but you still need a sub. So for these kind of speakers, I would recommend um, going with like a Atom set because remember we talked about the crossover, right? So you figure if an Atom makes a speaker and Atom is making a sub, they're designing them to function together. So you want to get something that's going to be atom and atom, apple and apple, not apple and orange. Okay. So we're looking at if you want like a reasonably priced system. Well, Atom is all high quality stuff, so don't underestimate their stuff. But I would look into like this is I see this is a good system, but it costs a lot of money. Look at the price, 12,699, but you get two 15-inch subs. Like this is gonna give you a very accurate near field sound. Like this is gonna be legit. I can tell you that right away. Uh, Sub 10, sub 8, sub 15. See, like unless you're having like from my experience, guys, unless you're having your subs literally like right next to your ears, I would not buy a 12-inch sub. I just wouldn't because a studio sub is different than a regular sub you use to blast music with your PA system or a subwoofer you use in your car, right? Like those are performance subs. Like those subs are designed to boom, show you the sound. Studio sub is different. It's designed to let you know when it's clean or when it's distorting. Okay, and you have to, in order to hear that moment, it unfortunately for me it requires an 18-inch sub, and even an 18-inch sitting below, it's like that's a big sub. One would say, oh my god, you got an 18-inch, dude. Like it's for me, it's just enough, just right to get it all dialed in finally after all these years. But this is again my experience. Another guy can say, well, in my experience, I had this and this and this, and I was able to achieve this and this and this. So then you could follow his path too. But if you're gonna be listening to following my path to achieving it, I can only speak for myself. So after these atoms, excuse me. So after I sold the Atom A7Xs, where were they? So after I sold these Atom A7Xs, I upgraded. And the reason I bought these ATC SEM45 Pros because these are three-way monitors. They're basically designed to have a tweeter, a mid, and a subs. These little low speakers, sub speakers right here. And I swear, guys, like look at this price tag, right? It's insane. Like one would think, God, if I'm spending $12,000, I know this is it. I know this is it. I'm never gonna need anything. This is it. I did it. I did it. And guess what? I bought it, right? And still can't get my lows right, man. I was ready to quit. I was like, damn, what the hell's going on? This is BS, man. Just spent 12 grand on some speakers. God, they're amazing speakers, though. But wait. But I wasn't able to dial in the lows. So I finally, at that point, I realized that, you know what? Don't be deceived, man. Yeah, these speakers are 12,000. But does that mean that your lows information is there? I started realizing it wasn't there because when I'm trying to tune in the lows, I just can't hear shit, right? So I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta, I have a feeling I'm gonna have to spend more money. I'm like, damn. So called Tyler from Sweetwater. That's my go-to guy. Highly recommend Tyler, and he will help you guys build the best system for your buck. But remember, if you don't follow my path, then you're going off my path. I could only help you with what I can help you, and I'm happy to help you. I think you could still achieve it. Don't get discouraged, okay? Because this stuff is not cheap. Honestly, it's just not cheap, and that's why high-end studios sound the way they are. And in-house dude is just always having trouble having to contact a professional. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's when you're paying me money to master your music, at least you understand what you're paying for now. You're paying for this subwoofer right here. You're paying for these ATC speakers right here. All of this stuff is wear and tear. Eventually, the stuff will break. I mean, they're very durable, last a long time. But the point I'm trying to make is, sometimes it's easier to just pay a professional studio that brings results and that you're familiar with, that you've heard the results, than just to try to take this on yourself. So this is where everything really changed for me. I got the subwoofers from Subwoofer Pros. This subwoofer is designed to actually work with the ATCs, so the crossover was like hand in hand. At first, I ran the speakers through the sub, but then after speaking with the Subwoofer Pro guys, they told me not to do that. They told me to fork it. So basically, just run in separate cables, like just splitters, and the two in the speakers and two in the sub. And when I did that, oh my god, everything has changed for me, guys. The game has finally changed. It's finally game over. It's like time to take over the world. As a matter of fact, it got so accurate that I don't even have to reference anymore in my car, in my Bluetooth. It's like when my studio sounds legit in my studio, it now sounds legit on every radio, on every car sub. It is my dream come true. And this is what every studio guy is trying to accomplish. And I know a lot of you studio guys out there, and you could be legit. You could have your hit records, and I know there's a lot of you out there still running to your car and still referencing your music in your car. And truthfully, honestly, I've actually achieved not having to do that anymore, which is the most coolest thing. I was like my dream come true. Okay, so that's what the SEM 45 Pros uh, and the Subwoofer Pro sub. Um, and then, of course, there's two more variables involved. Remember, padding, padding your studio, like you see all that black padding in the back. I'll teach you about that and how to do it right. And then a sound card, okay? Because remember, your sound card is your D to A to D converter, digital to analog, analog to digital. Your studio monitors and sub are analog, right? They take the analog signal, but your computers and your software and everything, that's all digital. So there's a conversion that takes place, and your sound card is what's responsible for making that conversion. If your sound card is not accurate, guess what? You're going to have a problem. Okay, so I'm going to speak for the sound cards that I've used, and you could buy these used. You could start with an Apogee MK1, which is very reasonably priced now. But if you wanted to buy a brand new Apogee MK2, this is what I have, but I have a 32 by 32, which allows me more analog inputs and outputs to have more studio devices and to more summing, analog summing, which I will get into that later. I love analog summing, man. Don't mess with analog, guys. I'm telling you. Like, I've got all the digital, I've got all the UADs, I've got all the analog. I love them both. Okay, but that's going to be a whole different topic. Analog versus digital. I don't even want to say versus. They're like best buddies hand in hand, all right? It's time to get along. But Apogee Symphony IO MK2, guys. Oh, sorry. Right here. MK2. Very accurate. Okay. Very good D to A converter. Very good. Very good D to A converter. And a good A to D converter. I ended up upgrading my A to D to a dangerous was it A to D plus, dangerous A to D plus. That's because it uses real transformers, and dangerous is just very clean. I did notice a difference. It was noticeable for me. So that's just my experience. Word clock. You gotta get your word clock going, guys. You gotta get the word clock, because then you're gonna that really helps that much more with accuracy. Okay, you gotta get the word clock cables. You gotta learn all about it. You gotta start using them. Um, that's of course if you're running your analog gear and everything. You just start looking into word clock. Once you get your sound card and everything, just look into where you could use your word clock cables to make these upgrades, because word clock cable data transfer is much better than using a USB per se, and like SPDIF, like for example SPDIF, because when you're using SPDIF, even though you could do data transfer with SPDIF, um, you're now doing audio and data in one cable, and it's not recommended. You want to split that. You want to keep data in one cable, you want to keep audio in another cable. Okay, but that topic is later. Like, you guys ever have questions about anything SPDIF, anything, just ask me. I'm here to help. kosmosstudiosmaui at gmail.com. You could email me, or the best thing to do is Instagram me, Cosmos Studios Maui. That's my Instagram account. Just ask me any questions, and I love helping people. So that's just what I'm here to do. So after you get your sound module, so now you have, let's say, your speakers. Tyler will help you get the right sub, get the right speakers, and make sure you run it by me before buying anything, because I want to make sure that you're not going to waste your money and get something that's not going to work. Yeah, Tyler's a good guy. I love you, Tyler, but still just, reach out to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I'll give you my honest opinion. Apogee, you could buy this new. You could buy this probably even. Let's see if they have an Apogee MK1. Symphony MK1. See, looks like looks like they don't sell MK1s anymore, so that's an old product, but you could buy it. You know what I would do? I would go to apogeedigital.com, guys. Apogeedigital.com. And Monday through Friday, they have this little support thing that pops up, and you could actually, oh, right here, you see where it says help? Right here. Click on that, put your name, your email, and just start talking. These guys are so awesome. Dude, like Apogee support, I love you guys. Like, seriously, you guys always been there for me. You're a true example for a real support, okay? You guys are amazing. And there's a lot of other guys that are amazing too, but just because I happen to go through this website, I'm going to speak for Apogee at this moment. Amazing guys. Talk to them about sound modules. They will actually take their time. They will educate you about D to A and A to D, what's accurate, blah, blah, blah. Because they're all pretty much accurate. Anything that has Apogee stamp on it, those guys are legit. You can't go wrong with it. So depending on how big your studio is, depends how many devices you have and everything, all those things are taken into consideration. All right. So let's see. Where were we at? Okay. Okay. So we got those two things down. You got your sound module. Where is it? Oh God, I'm lost in my world. Oh, okay. Sound module, studio sub, and studio monitors. Sub's got to be big. Got to be big. Go big, guys. Don't go small. And last but not least, oh, of course, you gotta have to have all your isolation stands and pads always, because remember, guys, bass especially, it rumbles, right? It rumbles, so it'll rumble your floors. Where your floors are going to be making noise, it's going to rumble other things. You got to always hear for all those things. You got to make sure nothing rumbles in your studio. Like, don't be having things laying around rumbling, guys. That's extremely important. Get rid of anything that freaking rumbles. Anything that rumbles, you got to get rid of, okay? So how do you, and then last but not least, okay, let's go to that page. Sound traps. Okay, you got your bass traps, which are your corners. They're easy to distinguish between the bass and the other frequencies. Bass usually travels through the corners, and that's where it all like starts to go crazy. So, guys, this is extremely important. How do you test? I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's not hard, okay? The goal is to accomplish a small room sound. Okay? A small room sound, like inside, but not inside a padded box. Okay? In between. You don't want too much padded. So what you want to do is you want to go in your room and just start clapping. And if you hear echo, like go to a corner, clap. You hear echo, it needs padding. Start padding that sucker up. Everywhere that that you hear resemblance of any kind of sound, pad that sucker up. And the studio has to be very evenly built. You cannot have a studio on the left side of the room, because remember, sounds is waves, right? They're waves. So if your studio is evenly placed in your room, and the speakers are evenly measured to a T, like to a millimeter, dude, like really measure it, like really take your time, match it, like make sure it's all even and legit. You want to make sure that it's very even on both sides. So if it's 6 feet on the right, it's got to be 6 feet on the left. Okay, and that applies to you got to leave some space in the back of your speakers. Very important, because remember, sound waves travel in all directions. Unlike a water ripple that just goes like this horizontally, right? Sound goes in every direction. That means back too. So having your studio in the middle of your room is kind of like the key. It is important. However, taking into consideration that the speaker is pointing one direction, this is where I would talk to the studio monitor developers, right? The guys who made your studio speakers, the guys who made your subwoofer. You got to call them guys and you got to say, hey, what do you think? Where should I have it placed? Because they're all designed by them, so these guys know what's best for them, okay, to achieve that accuracy. So once you pad up your whole room, you got a good sound module, you got some really nice studio monitors. Atom A7Xs is a good price point to start. $750 for two. You could actually go for life with those. Like, I could see myself with those and a big ass sub. Guys, get a big ass sub. You need a big ass sub. Then, now, only now, I can start talking to you about dialing in your lows. All right? So that's where you have your EQ, compressor, gating. Okay, taking away the tails is important because some tails in the sound can mess with other sounds, right? Because it's all trying to fit into one doorway, which we call the master fader, right? That's, you look at it like a doorway, and the tracks are just a bunch of people, and they're just trying to jam into that doorway, and your job is to do it so that nobody gets hurt. And what hurt means distortion, bad sound. All right. So because compression, EQ, gating, just mixing, is such a skill in itself. I can't just tell you in simple words what I'm doing to get it right, because every sound that you're working with is different. What I can tell you though is you need to start using those tools, and because now you have accurate sound that I help you build, right? And you're able to reference it on your favorite track. Now you can start trusting your ears. And it's that simple. That's where it starts, is your ears. Trust your ears. And make sure you take breaks, because there's a thing called ear fatigue. You could sit for too long and shit just starts sounding really good. And man, I tell you, that's your worst enemy, because your ears are lying to you. Okay? Excuse me. Extremely important. You need a dB meter. Okay, like for example, right now, let's see, I'm at 89, I'm at 84, I'm at 81. So I'm okay. That means you're not going to go deaf right now listening to me. So I know I'm not being too loud. Okay, so you want to get used to working with music anywhere between 80 and your highest being 98. Don't go past that. There's no need. If you feel like 80 is too low, raise it to 90. But learn to work on one level. This is extremely crucial. You know why? Because you remember, you are memorizing, you're learning your studio. Your studio is talking to you. But on a louder level, human ear perception changes. You need to look into the Moonson curve. I'm going to show you guys something right now. Hold on. Okay. I think this is the latest Moonson curve, because there's one that was actually updated. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Can we make this bigger? Okay, here we go. So, oh yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it just went bigger. Okay, guys, this is your hearing perception. And you know what's interesting? Do you notice something really cool about this? It looks like a human ear. That's what's so cool about it. Our ear is designed and is already telling you what it likes. This is sick. Like, this is amazing. This is God. That's why I love God and I believe in God, because this is just crazy. But it's okay. Don't hate me if you don't believe in God, because I still love you. Okay? So it literally looks like a human ear. I mean, this is kind of crazy. It just trips me out. So let's start. Okay, so you got your you got your dB level, okay, and you have your frequencies, okay, and human ear stops hearing at 20,000 hertz, okay, 20,000 kilohertz, sorry, and then or 20 kilohertz, and basically after 20, the frequencies continue. There's probably millions and gazillion frequency, like a huge, like really like really small, like fast, supersonic frequencies that the military uses. The military has them, okay? Uh, but we're not worried about the military. We're worried about the human ear. This is where the human ear can hear, okay? And you see, as the dB goes up, as it gets louder, notice the human ear perception starts to change. It changes, okay? It changes. So this is why it is extremely, where did I put the darn thing? Oh, this is why it is extremely important to use a dB meter. Is Radio Shack still around? I got this at Radio Shack a while back, but I don't know. You could order them on Amazon. Just get yourself a dB meter and start using it at, between 80 and 98, and just kind of stick with one number, and always check your stuff, because you'll be surprised. You're going to get loud without noticing, and your eerie perception is going to change. So you kind of want to be in the middle, because you want to assume that uh, people are going to be listening to your music quietly, and people are going to be listening to your music loudly. So my philosophy is, when you mix your music, you want to be in the middle, okay? Be in the middle, okay, as far as the human ear perception. And that usually is like 80 to 90, somewhere in that range, right here. Right here. See, it even says 80, 90. This is what I like. It's on the louder side, but again, all the hip-hop music, all the house music, like boom, boom, that stuff is usually on the loud side. So see, this is how you figure out how to really dial in on what volume level. You see, this is all very interesting stuff, man. So yeah, so start doing that. And what you're going to notice is now you have accuracy. You're trusting your ears. You're using your volume level at the right level all the time. So now you're really training and you're learning your studio, because every time your studio talks to you and you're using different levels, your studio is going to be talking to you with different, like almost talking to you in different languages, right? So that creates confusion. So avoid that and try to keep it simple for yourself. And play with the compressor, play with the EQ, play with gating, and the best thing you can do is reach out to me. You have any questions? Guess what? I'm here to answer. I'm here to help. I'm not that busy right now, so when I start getting too busy, I'll just say, hey, whatever. I don't think I'll ever get there to where I can't help you guys. I want to help you as much as possible. So that's about it. Get it all dialed in, and then just start playing with your compressor EQ. When you play with the EQ, for example, set it to like the lowest bell possible, like 22, 30 hertz, and start raising that sucker, right? But it all depends on what your kick is already. Also, another thing that works well with everything works well with kicks. I mean, the whole spectrum works well with kicks. So you can start raising the lows, you can start lowering the mids, and see how that goes. Just play with your EQs, guys. That's the only way you're going to get good. There's also a very good ear training app that I recommend on all smart devices. It's called Hear EQ, okay? Let me spell it out for you. It's called Hear EQ, just like that, okay? It's an app. It's an ear training for musicians, sound engineers. Guys, this is the best thing that'll ever happen to you. Put on some headphones, decent headphones, obviously. And you know I'm a believer in good quality speakers and headphones. And practice running the frequencies. And this is how you're going to get really, really good, to where you're going to just hear something and you're going to say, oh, this is too much in the 500 range. I need to turn this 500 down. Boom, and instantly it's like, it's the result you wanted you achieved, because you are trained. Your ears are trained. So this is it for this video. If you guys like this information, please subscribe below, hit the bell, and feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, or email me, kosmosstudiosmaui@gmail.com, or kosmosstudiosmaui on my Instagram channel. Ask me any questions you guys have, or in the comments section. Feel free, and I'll try to reach out to you as fast as possible. And thank you for watching. Aloha. Peace.